2,000 years ago, someone in the ancient Greek world built a computer. Not a metaphor, an actual machine. You turned a crank on the side and more than 30 bronze gears came alive inside it. It could tell you where the sun and the moon would sit in the sky on any date you chose. It could predict an eclipse decades before it happened. And here is the part that stops historians cold. After this machine was lost, nothing this complex would be built again anywhere on Earth. For the next 1400 years, it is the size of a shoebox. It is completely real. And for 50 years it sat in a museum, mistaken for a lump of rock. It is called the Antikythera Mechanism, and it is the oldest known computer on Earth. Today we understand a great deal about it. It was a hand-powered model of the cosmos built from interlocking bronze gears, each one cut and fitted by hand. On its faces, dials and pointers tracked the heavens. This is not a legend and it is not a hoax. It has been X-rayed, scanned and rebuilt by modern scientists, so the real mystery here is not what it is. The mystery is how. How did people this long ago know enough and build with enough precision to create something the world would not see again for over 1,000 years? To answer that, we have to start at the bottom of the sea. In the spring of 1900, a boat of Greek sponge divers was caught in a storm. They sheltered near a tiny island called Antikythera between Crete and the mainland. When the sea finally calmed, one diver went down in a heavy canvas suit and a copper helmet, hunting for sponges. He surfaced terrified. Below him on the seabed there were bodies. Bronze arms, horses, a whole field of them scattered in the dark. It was not a graveyard. It was a shipwreck, a Roman-era cargo ship that had gone down around the 1st century BC, packed with Greek treasure. Statues, glass, jewelry. And unnoticed among all of it, a few shapeless lumps of corroded bronze. Working with the Greek navy, the divers hauled the treasure up over the following year. The beautiful statues went straight on display. The shapeless bronze fragments were set aside and ignored. Then, in 1902, an archaeologist named Valerio Stais looked again at one of those lumps. Inside the rock and corrosion, he saw something that should not be there. A gear wheel. Precisely cut teeth in ancient bronze. It made no sense at all. Gearwork like this belonged to clocks, and clocks were more than 1,000 years in the future. For decades, nobody could explain it. The lump sat in a drawer in Athens, quietly holding its secret, waiting for someone who could finally read it. That someone arrived in the 1950s. A British scientist began firing X-rays through the fragments to map the gears frozen inside the corrosion. Slowly, over decades of work by many researchers, the machine gave up what it did. On the front, a single large dial showed the sky. One pointer tracked the sun through the constellations. Another followed the moon, and a small rotating ball even showed the moon's phase, waxing and waning as you turned the crank. The inscriptions describe pointers for the 5 planets known in antiquity too: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. In other words, the entire known cosmos, modelled in bronze, on the face of a box you could hold in your lap. Set the date and the whole sky moved to meet it. Turn it around and the back is stranger still. 2 large spiral dials wind across it. The upper spiral is a calendar, a 19-year cycle the Greeks used to keep the moon and the sun in step. The lower spiral is the truly astonishing one. It predicts eclipses. Spread around it are small symbols, marking the months when a solar or lunar eclipse was due, and sometimes even the likely hour and the colour. A smaller dial off to the side tracked a 4-year cycle. It counted down to the Pan-Hellenic Games, including the ancient Olympics themselves. A calculator quietly keeping the calendar of the gods. So this machine did not just model the sky, it scheduled it, years in advance. And then there is the detail that turns admiration into disbelief. The real moon does not move at a steady pace. It speeds up and slows down because its orbit is not a perfect circle. The Greeks knew this, and somehow they built it into the gears. 2 wheels were mounted slightly off-center, one driving the other through a tiny pin sliding in a slot. As they turned, that clever trick made the moon's pointer speed up and slow down, mimicking the real motion in the sky. This is engineering the world would not rediscover until Renaissance clockmakers, 14 centuries later. Someone worked it out by hand in bronze before the birth of Christ. For a long time, no one could see the full design because the mechanism is broken and fused solid. Then modern technology changed everything. In 2005, an international research team used a powerful X-ray scanner to look straight through the fragments. Hidden inside, they found thousands of tiny Greek letters, an instruction manual, engraved onto the machine itself. Then, in 2021, a team at University College London published a full reconstruction of the front. They showed how a compact stack of shared gears could drive all the planets at once, fitting into the shallow space available. Piece by piece, the box has given up its logic. Which leaves the hardest question of all: who built it? Here the solid facts run out and careful theories begin. No name is written anywhere on the machine. So researchers hunt for its maker inside the astronomy it contains. One leading idea points to the island of Rhodes. The great astronomer Hipparchus worked there, and his theories of the moon's motion closely match what these gears actually do. The ship itself was carrying goods in the Rhodian style, which fits. A separate tradition reaches back to Archimedes. The Roman writer Cicero described a bronze device, made by Archimedes, that modelled the sun, moon and planets, unnervingly like this one. But Archimedes died decades too early to have built this exact machine. The honest answer is that we still do not know whose hands made it. Whoever they were almost certainly not alone. A machine this refined does not appear from nowhere. It implies a workshop, a tradition. Earlier, cruder attempts and skilled people passing knowledge down, and yet nothing else like it survives. Not one comparable machine has ever been found from the entire ancient world. After the Antikythera Mechanism sank, geared astronomical devices vanish from the record almost completely. For roughly 1400 years, the trail goes cold. The technology does not clearly return in Europe until medieval clockmakers start building astronomical clocks in the 14th century. An entire branch of engineering seems to have been invented, mastered, and then simply forgotten. So how does a whole civilization lose something like this? The likeliest answer is quieter than any conspiracy. These machines were rare and fabulously expensive. Each one was made by hand by a handful of specialists for wealthy patrons. That knowledge was never written into a manual for ordinary people. It lived in a few workshops and a few minds. And when the ancient world came apart, when libraries burned, schools closed, and trade routes collapsed, that fragile chain simply broke. No students, no workshop, no next generation. The skill did not fail on its own. It was dropped. And once it was dropped, it stayed lost for over 1,000 years. One shipwreck is the only reason we know it ever existed at all. So here is where we honestly stand. The Antikythera Mechanism is real, and we now understand what it did. A hand-cranked model of the heavens that tracked the sun and moon, charted the planets, and predicted eclipses decades ahead. That much is settled. What we cannot answer is the human part. We do not know exactly who built it. We do not know how many others once existed. And we do not truly know why such brilliance was allowed to slip out of the world for 14 centuries. It forces one uncomfortable thought. If a machine this advanced could be invented, and then completely forgotten, what else has humanity discovered and lost? Tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next unsolved case.